Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We want to head over to Greenville, South Carolina. What's happening right now, Senator Graham is holding a press conference. He's with Tony Perkins, president of Family Research Council, who was officially endorsing Senator Graham for re-election. Let's take a listen in.
Senator Graham, I'm just going to join President Trump in saying thank you, Lindsey.
Thank you.
Well, Senator Graham has been working inside government to pass legislation. Tony Perkins has been working outside of government to cultivate, educate, and motivate citizens to demand and support common sense policies that promote life and guard families. Mr. Perkins has led the Family Research Council since 2003, making him the longest serving president in that organization's history. He first entered public office in 1996 and quickly became known as a leading voice on pro-life and pro-family issues in the state of Louisiana. While serving in the Louisiana legislature, he built a reputation as one of the state's most effective conservative lawmakers. He authored the nation's first covenant marriage law, a groundbreaking effort to strengthen families that drew national attention. He led on a wide range of policies, from regulating abortion clinics to protecting against genetic discrimination and improving internet safety in schools. He also worked to reduce repeat crime by expanding partnerships between corrections programs and faith-based organizations. At the Family Research Council, he's grown the organization's reach by building a nationwide network of pastors and churches engaged in public policy. And he was appointed by Senator Mitch McConnell to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, where he served in a top leadership role. Before his policy career, he served in the U.S. Marine Corps. Thank you for your service. Worked as a police officer later, helping train international officers in anti-terrorism efforts. He's also an ordained minister, a national radio host, an author, a devoted father, and a father of 5. It is a pleasure to welcome you to South Carolina and to get to say thank you in person for all that you and your organization have done. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I certainly wouldn't want you doing opposition research. You've got a lot of information there. Maybe I should run for the Senate.
You'll be welcome.
Well, I just appreciate South Carolina Citizens for Life and the great work that you've done in upholding the issue of life, which I think is a fundamental issue. It's an honor to be here in South Carolina today. It's always a pleasure to be outside of Washington, D.C.,
Yes,
but I can't think of a better place than South Carolina. Before I go further, let me be clear. I'm here in my personal capacity, not as the president of the Family Research Council, which does not endorse candidates. And I'll add this. This is not something I normally do. I shared earlier. I can probably count on one hand the number of times that I've gone into a state to publicly endorse a member of Congress. But I'm here today because of the leadership of Senator Lindsey Graham. We live in a time when leadership is often confused with visibility, when influence is measured in clicks and followers, and when too many mistake being heard for actually getting something done. But Lindsey Graham represents something increasingly rare in American public life. He is a leader. He is not a social media influencer. And while others are chasing headlines, Lindsey has been doing the hard, often unseen work of accomplishing that which matters. Nowhere is that more clear than in his role of shaping a judiciary that is anchored in the Constitution, not swayed by culture, not bent by political winds, but grounded in the rule of law. And I know that sometimes Americans, when things are going well, they take those things for granted. But the court we have today is in large part because of Senator Lindsey Graham and his role as the Judiciary Chairman. He was there and he helped manage the Brett Kavanaugh and the Amy Coney Barrett nominations and helped them onto the court. It's the kind of leadership that doesn't always make noise, but it makes a difference that lasts for generations. And second, Lindsey Graham is not just a vote, he is a voice. He's a voice for the defenseless. There are many who wear labels in Washington, pro-life, pro-family, pro-this, pro-that. They cast votes, but he has actually used his influence to advance the cause of life. When the issue of life became politically inconvenient in the 2022 midterm elections, when others grew quiet, Lindsey stepped forward and gave his colleagues a way to speak clearly, courageously, and compassionately about the dignity of every human life. And today, nationally, we actually see abortion rates on the rise, driven largely by chemical abortion. And he has once again stepped into the gap. Others talk about it. He's actually done something about it. He led an effort bringing together nearly every Republican senator, which is a rarity, onto a letter calling on the FDA to revisit the policies that made these drugs more accessible and less accountable. And he's taken this issue to the president. This is not symbolic leadership. This is substantive leadership that makes a difference. And his voice, it doesn't stop at our borders. He has been a consistent advocate for persecuted Christians around the world. In fact, I've testified before your committee on that issue a number of years ago. Those who suffer simply because of their deeply held faith. He understands that religious freedom is not just an American value, it is a universal right worth defending. And third, Lindsey Graham embodies moral courage. And moral courage is this: doing what is right for others, even when it costs you personally. National security is one of those issues that most people don't think about until they need it, until something goes wrong. Right. But Lindsey Graham understands that the world, he understands it not by the headlines we read today, but he understands it in how it shapes tomorrow. He sees the global landscape as a chess master sees the board, thinking several moves ahead. And he has been unwavering in sounding the alarm about one of the greatest threats of our time, and that is a nuclear-armed Iran. Now, let's be honest, this is not always the most popular message. People feel the immediate impact of rising gas prices far more than they feel the long-term consequences of the geopolitical risk. But Lindsey Graham has not adjusted his message to match public opinion. He's leading in the way that is best for America, for our children and our grandchildren. He has remained steady because he knows what's at stake, not just for us, but for our children and grandchildren. This is what I define as moral courage. And that same conviction is seen in his steadfast support of the state of Israel. Now, Scripture tells us that God blesses those who bless Israel. Now, that doesn't mean that we endorse every decision that the government of Israel makes, but it does mean this: that we stand with Israel, supporting her right to exist and defending her right to determine her own future. No one has been more clear and courageous in leading that message in the United States Senate than Senator Lindsey Graham. In a time when that support is increasingly questioned, Lindsey Graham has been consistent, courageous, and clear. So today, I've come to South Carolina to lend my voice in support of Senator Lindsey Graham for his reelection. Okay. Because he has used his voice and his influence, not for himself, but to protect and to advance faith, family, and freedom. And at a time when our nation needs clarity, conviction, and courage, South Carolina has a senator that delivers all three. And this, in my opinion, is leadership worth supporting, and I hope the citizens of South Carolina will continue to stand with Lindsey Graham as he stands with America.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much. God bless you. Well, the quality of this news conference is about to go down. Lisa, thank you. I've been your wingman for a very long time. To all those in this room who've been fighting for the pro-life cause, it's been fun. You know, most Americans like an underdog. I know I do. There's no bigger underdog than the unborn. Why? Because they can't talk. If we don't speak for them, who does, Tony, right? So it's been a pleasure. And I don't do it with animosity, like Lisa says. It's a hard, gut-wrenching event. And not out of animosity, it's out of love. If you can, 240,000 people in this world because abortion rates have gone down. Wow, I mean, that's big. It makes me feel good. That played a small part in that. So as to Tony, when he said he would come, I was like, wow. I can understand me asking, I could understand you saying no. But you came and you spoke in a way that I'll never forget for the rest of my... This election is personally different for me. This election is about what I've been trying to do versus what other people would do. About, am I more right than I am wrong? Am I right to be doing what I'm doing? And I feel like the people of South Carolina are going to say soon, yes. And the fact that you would come here, Tony, and lend your voice to my campaign will matter because what you say and what you believe is important to a lot of people in South Carolina. As Lisa says, they look to you for leadership and guidance. Lending your credibility to my campaign is much appreciated. To Lisa, if you're a friend of Lisa, she'll be a friend of you. And no matter what anybody else says about Lindsey Graham, she is there for me because she's seen me in action. And that's worth a lot. So gas prices. Gas prices are high, and I wish they were not. When I was 21 and 22, my parents died 15 months apart. We pretty much lost everything. Moved in with an aunt and uncle. My sister was 13. And Social Security benefits, my aunt and uncle worked in textile mills. $1 a gallon gas meant a lot. It's not that I don't understand, I do. It's not that I feel terrible. If you're raising a couple of kids making $15, $20 an hour, this is a big blow to your budget. If you're a senior, this is a big blow to your budget. All I could say is that I think we have to do it. These are times when you are tested. If I could think of a better way to contain Iran than driving up gas prices by confronting them, I would have chosen that path. For about 15 years, I've been saying the same thing. If the Iranian regime ever gets a bomb, they will use it. And I know people don't want to believe that, but I do. And why do I believe it? Because they say it, and they mean it. I often wondered, how could people in the 30s let Hitler get so strong? Now I know. You don't want to confront evil because it's always easier to appease it or excuse it. President Trump, to the people of South Carolina, had a choice. He could have sat back and watched them sprint to enough weapons-grade plutonium to make 10 or 11 bombs and try to contain it. He chose not to do that. He chose to do something that other presidents refused to do. Attack an enemy of the United States and the state of Israel that would kill us all if they could. If you do not believe that the Ayatollah and his henchmen would use a nuclear weapon, then you're not listening to what they're saying. Hitler wrote a book, nobody believed him. They should have. 50 million people died because people in my business at the time took the wrong path. Who do you remember from World War II? The people that took the right path when it was the hardest. This is World War II on steroids. This is a defining moment for the planet. To Western Europe, where are you? The Strait of Hormuz is more important to you and your economy than it is to ours. Freedom of navigation should not be a hard concept to sign up for. Iran is terrorizing the world to break President Trump, to drive up gas prices here at home, and we'll back off and let them survive. We're close to the end. Gas prices are going to come down soon, and most importantly, they're going to stay down if we get this right. If we get this wrong, you will be held hostage, and we will be held hostage by this radical regime. That is an unacceptable outcome for me, because I care about you and your family and my family enough to know it is not about me. What does victory look like? Getting ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, breaking Iran's intimidating control. That's checkmate. Operation Freedom, if successful, will end the control of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran. It will destroy their leverage. Gas prices will come tumbling down. If we have to go back to kinetic military activity, it should be focused and it should be short. I see a day very soon where we have ships flowing through the Strait of Hormuz, unimpeded by Iran. The gas prices begin to drop, and they will keep coming down, and the world will be a safer place. That we will end the engagement with Iran and turn to peace. Victory for me is making sure Iran can never generate another October 7th attack against Israel to destroy the opportunity of Israel and Saudi Arabia making peace. The biggest change in my lifetime and in 2,000 years in the Mideast would be if Saudi Arabia, the leading voice in Islam, would recognize the one and only Jewish state Israel. That would end the Arab-Israeli conflict, and I will pay any price to make that happen, because that will change the world. And we're very close to that happening. If we put Iran in a box and sprint to peace, not only do gas prices come down, they stay down, and you'll have a completely different Mideast where our troops can leave and go to other hot spots. So much is at stake here. Finally, if you give radical Islam the Jews, that's not enough for them. If you want to sacrifice the Jewish people, thinking that makes you safer, you've made a very bad decision. Not only in the eyes of God, but in the eyes of common sense. It's not the Jews they want. They want anything and everything that's different. Most all of us here are Christian. We're infidels in the eyes of the radical regime in Iran. They want you too. Well, they're not going to get us. Like Israel, we're going to fight back. To our friends in Israel, I will have your back as long as I am standing. For me to pull the plug on you, God will pull the plug on us. I believe that. Whether you're religious or not, to abandon Israel is to abandon your best defense against another attack on our homeland. When we help Israel, we're helping ourselves. Israel doesn't draw us into war. They keep the war from coming here by fighting a common enemy. I cannot think of any group that wants to destroy the Jewish state that doesn't want to destroy me and us. Common enemies and common values. If you don't like the government in Israel, stick around. In 90 days it will change. It's a vibrant democracy worth defending. It is an outpost of democracy and freedom and tolerance in a sea of hate. It is an insurance policy for America. We cannot fight radical Islam by ourselves, and to those who want to withdraw from the field, you do so at your own peril. You may be tired of fighting them. They're not tired of fighting you. They will fight you because dying for their cause is first prize in their world. When you're fighting kamikazes, you better hit them before they take off. And these people are kamikazes. They don't represent all of Islam. More Muslims have died at their hands than anybody else. But it's a common enemy to mankind. Forget about a country. Everything that they want, you should say no to, because it destroys our ability to live together peacefully, worshiping God our way, following our own path. I don't know why Hitler wanted to kill all the Jews, but he did. I don't know why he believed that the Aryan race was superior to everybody else and the inferior had to die. The mentally ill were euthanized. This is evil. This is evil as ever much as, on the same scale as Adolf Hitler. I believe that for ever since I've been in politics. This evil is finally being confronted. In World War II, we were united. We understood the threat. We understood what we had to do after Pearl Harbor. Unfortunately, the world and a lot of people in America, in my view, don't understand the threat the way I do. And my job is to educate, motivate, lead, and get the right result. President Trump is doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. They were within weeks of having enough highly enriched uranium to make 10 or 11 bombs. 2 to 3 weeks. And he blew up their enrichment facilities, stopping a sprint to nuclear weapons grade material that would have surely been turned into a bomb. I owe it to him to stand with him because I've encouraged him to take on this regime for the benefit of stability in the world, for the survival of the Jewish state, and for standing up for all things that are right. Gas prices, folks, will come down the day that Iran is put back in a box. And the good news for you is they will stay down. And when Israel and Saudi Arabia make peace, they will go down even further, and they will stay down. The big threat to the Mideast is Iran. The Arabs and the Israelis are making peace, and the outlier is the Iranian regime. To the people of Iran, I am awed by your courage. The fact that 45,000 people would give their life to stand up to a regime says all I need to know about the future of Iran being a good partner to America. These are the kind of people I want on my side. Do you know what it must be like to go out in the streets to take on your government, knowing they would shoot you dead and keep coming? So the blockade is working, but you know what I want? I want a Second Amendment solution. It should be in our interest, Israel's interest, and everybody's interest to give the people of Iran the chance to fight back. Arm the Iranian people. Cowards shoot the innocent. I believe if they could fight back, if they were a well-armed citizenry, they would fight back, and the IRG and these cowards would fold like a cheap suit. President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, help the Iranian people help themselves. We don't need American boots on the ground. We got millions of people in Iran that are willing to die for their freedom to make us safer. Help them. Give them the weapons they need to take on the regime. It's one thing to hit the regime from the air. It's another thing for them to confront their own people in the streets who have the ability to fight back. If we can pull that off, I think this regime is on its back foot forever. We're close. We're inside the 10-yard line. Open up the straits. Hit them hard one more time. Arm the people. Move to peace. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Senator Graham, you mentioned a few times in your address that we're close to ending the conflict in Iran. What do you believe needs to happen to make that possible?
Operation Freedom works, and I'm hoping other nations will help regain freedom of navigation. It's not about Trump, it's about whether or not we're going to tolerate a terrorist state controlling a vital choke point. So I'm hoping that Operation Freedom grows, more countries participate. But Operation Freedom is to allow ships to flow through the Strait of Hormuz under American protection to get the world economy going. And the day that happens, oil prices will tumble down. And the day that we make sure Iran can't generate another October 7th and continue to be the largest state sponsor of terrorism, they not only tumble down, they stay down, and we're very, very close. Don't blink now.
And right now the U.S. and Iran are in a ceasefire. How strong is that ceasefire?
Well, I'm not so sure I would say this is a ceasefire. If you're on the Navy ship, it doesn't sound like one. I'll leave it up to President Trump to determine what he believes a ceasefire is. I think they've been, they fired at our ships, they've hit a South Korean vessel, they've attacked the United Arab Emirates. The UAE has been a champion ally. They've done everything we ask and then some. They've taken the brunt of this war. So I want them to know we have their back. I'll leave that up to President Trump. But at the end of the day, Iran's not going to quit. To those who believe that the economic pain, which is real, will just crush their economy, that the radicals will quit, they won't. They'll crawl through glass for their agenda. So how do you knock them out of the game? If you can open up the straits, they have no leverage. If we can get the shipping to flow through the straits, that's checkmate to Iran. Gas prices come down. If we degrade their military capability further, their chance to enslave their people goes down. The chance of an uprising goes up. The chance for peace between Saudi and Israel goes up exponentially the weaker Iran gets. One last question.
Senator, with the recent Supreme Court ruling on the Voting Rights Act, do you think the state legislators should redraw our congressional?
Well, I know it's attractive to pick up a seat. 31% of our state is African American. There are other laws out there that could come into play. All I can say is choose wisely here. Redistricting could, if done the wrong way, create competitive seats that we don't have today. We own 6 of the 7 congressional seats, so I'll leave that up to the governor and the State House. The ballots are out. Filing is over. It'd probably be a nightmare legal situation. Easier probably to do it in 28 legally, if you ever wanted to do it. But think long and hard about what you're doing, because the attraction of one more seat has to be viewed in terms of how it affects the other seats. And I'll leave that up to the State House. I'll leave that up to the governor. But think long and hard about the ripple effect politically and legally, because we're so far down the road now. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you, sweetheart.